Welcome everyone, I'm Jared Hoyer, and welcome to week 2 of my Acts of Kindness video summaries. Now, for those who did not tune in last week, I'm Jared Hoyer, and my New Year's resolution was to perform one random act of kindness every day for the whole year. Now, I got this idea because I got sick of turning on the news and seeing story after story of violence and harassment and hate crimes wherever we look. So the idea behind my acts, and now these videos, was to promote a campaign of kindness and respect that would hopefully decrease the number of negative stories we see in the news and create more positive instances of kindness and respect in today's world. Now, just like last week, I'm going to start this video by recapping my kindness acts from this past week, before taking some time to highlight some national stories of kindness that made headlines recently. Finally, I'll end the video by talking about some creative and fun ideas that you could perform this coming week for acts of kindness yourself. So, let's get started. Those of you who saw my video last week know that Monday was National Postal Worker Day. So Monday, before I left for work, I started my Acts of Kindness week by taking a moment to write a thank you note to my local postal worker on a sticky note and tucking it inside my mailbox. And they more than deserved it. I know that's a very thankless job, and I think we often take them for granted. Moving on to Tuesday, I brought a bouquet of flowers to my dance class, specifically for my instructor, Jordan. Jordan, I don't know if you're watching this or not, but you have been just so helpful and welcoming to me as I've started to get back into my ballroom dancing career after recently moving. You've been extremely patient with me, and you're always in a great mood whenever I see you, and you're always looking forward to dancing with me, which I really appreciate. So thank you again for all you do, and thank you for continuing to dance with me. Come Wednesday, I took some time to go for a run. It was beautiful out here in Minnesota, and while running around a local lake, I came across a part of the running path that was blocked off. It turned out that the path and the road were both closed because that lake was hosting their annual fireworks show that night. Now, it was July 3rd, so I didn't expect this, but apparently that's a tradition in the area of town that I just moved to. So I was politely informed by a local police officer that the route was closed and that I would have to turn around and jog the other way. And that was fine. I was okay with that. Cutting my workout short was definitely a sign that I took. But I made sure before that to take a moment to go up to that officer and shake his hand and thank him for his service. I always take the time to thank law enforcement officers when I can because, again, I have tremendous respect for them and everything they do for us and our community. Thursday was obviously the 4th of July here in the United States. I hope everyone got to go out and have a great time and celebrate appropriately. My day was full of friends and boating and jet skiing, and we had a great time out here on Lake Minnetonka in Minnesota. Now, towards the end of the evening, obviously, some people were feeling the effects of the partying a little more than others. So I made sure to help provide some rides home, coordinate some Ubers, and just make sure that everyone got home safe in one piece. It was the least I could do for letting me come celebrate with them out on Lake Minnetonka. I'm very appreciative. It was one of the best 4th of Julys I've had recently. So thank you again to all my friends that I saw on the 4th. Friday morning, I drove back to Wisconsin to attend a party for the LPGA Classic Golf Tournament going on back in my hometown. Now, my hometown has hosted this tournament for the past 3 years, and every year my mom and stepdad will throw on a huge party to celebrate for it. There's tons of food and drinks and just good times all around. So I drove back to attend this because, obviously, free food and booze, I'm not going to turn that down. But while I was there, I made sure to help them host as well. I know that's a lot going on for them and a lot to handle in one day, so I tried to help make sure people were always good on drinks and food and were just having a good time in general. And what a great turnout it was and a good time. The weather held up, it was beautiful. And congratulations to Shan Feng of China for winning the tournament. There were tons of talented women out there this year. It's really astonishing to watch them. They make it all look so easy. It's ridiculous. I hope to be half as good as them someday. I probably never will. On Saturday, while I was still home, I helped my stepdad to move a desk from his storage unit to his office and get that set up for him. I know he really appreciated this, so I was glad to help in that aspect and help with any projects like that whenever I'm home. Finally, on Sunday, after I'd gotten back here to Minneapolis and had my hands full of stuff from Green Bay as I was going into my apartment, I noticed someone was struggling to open the front door as they too had their hands full and were struggling to fish out their keys. We've all been there, you know how that goes. I was on the other side of the door, and even though my hands were full, I was able to shove a little elbow into the door and open that for them so they didn't have to fumble around for their keys. And it's little acts like that that you never know what the impact's going to be. That person could be having a really bad day, and that could just make their day. You never know. So always try to do little things like that, because you never know how far it's going to ripple. That was my summary of my acts of kindness for this past week. Now we're going to move on to some stories that made national headlines, and we have some really good ones for you this week. Check these out. Our first story this week comes to us from, well, all over the country actually, which is part of what makes it so cool. Multiple groups of Good Samaritans took the time the evening of July 4th to skip the fireworks and instead go to animal shelters and humane societies to comfort the dogs there as the fireworks went off. Now, I didn't know this was a thing, but I thought this was super cool when I heard about it. I know personally my dog goes nuts whenever he hears fireworks go off. So I can only imagine what it's like to be a dog at an animal shelter with no one to comfort them while being surrounded by lots of other dogs that are also probably freaking out from the fireworks. So hearing this story was really touching. And like I said, I found instances of it all over the country, which was really cool. I found a group in Pittsburgh that did this, a group in Phoenix, Arizona, and a really, really cool story out of the Brevard County of Florida, where the group that did this was actually a group of inmates from the Brevard County Jail, and the Sheriff's Department had recruited them. Again, they didn't force them, it was a volunteer opportunity still, but it was a group of inmates. I saw that and I thought that was just amazing. You know, it really gave me hope, personally. And again, that's part of the reason I'm doing these acts and these videos, is just to give hope. Hope can be so powerful. So to see that was just so great to see. Again, I feel like we all need a little more hope these days. Our second story is a story about two people who became friends while on an airplane. And I know a lot of you are probably like, an airplane? How did this happen? This is so bizarre. I know personally when I'm on an airplane, I'm just trying to eat my Stroopwafels in peace while watching a movie that came out 3 months ago on DVD that I still haven't seen yet. But no, this is a really cool story, and it's about 7-year-old Landon Bjornsson, who was recently flying from Las Vegas to Oregon by himself to go see his dad. Now, Landon has autism, so his mother was worried about how that flight might go. So what she did was she gave Landon a note to give to whomever he ended up sitting next to on the plane. This note basically explained that Landon has high-functioning autism, and therefore might ask them a lot of questions during the flight. She said he might ask them, "Are we there yet?" several times throughout the flight. The note included $10 and was supposed to be an incentive for that person to make Landon feel comfortable during the flight rather than ignoring him or treating him like a burden. Well, Landon ended up sitting next to a man by the name of Ben Pedraza, who didn't need any monetary incentive to help Ben feel comfortable. They became friends instantly after they met each other, and were cracking jokes the entire time, to the point where Ben says Landon asked him to, quote, "stop telling dad jokes." I agree, Landon. The last thing a flight needs is dad jokes. Ben even refused to take the money, instead donating that $10 to the Autism Society in Landon's honor. He did this after taking a photo with Landon and tweeting it at Landon's mother, saying that Landon was a joy to ride with and that they became best friends throughout the flight. So again, another really cool story in a very unlikely place. Our third story this week also comes from Las Vegas, where the city council recently approved a program for 1 month that would allow motorists to pay off their parking tickets by donating school supplies to a local nonprofit. This has apparently been done a few times before and in other cities, and I think this is a great idea. I'm sure Las Vegas racks up a lot of parking tickets. So now for this 1 month, as long as those tickets aren't related to a public safety incident, motorists can pay it off by donating supplies such as pens, pencils, erasers, dry erase markers, paper towels, and copy paper to the Teachers Exchange, which is a nonprofit that is a part of the Public Education Foundation. So this seems like a good way to kill two birds with one stone. You know, pay off those tickets and really help promote education, which is again something that we really need to do these days to help educate that younger generation. So those are the stories that made headlines this week. Finally, I'll wrap up this video by suggesting some fun and creative ideas for acts of kindness that you can perform this coming week. Now, some of these ideas might be coming to you late, and I apologize. I was a little behind on recording and editing this week. But Tuesday this week, July 9th, is National Sugar Cookie Day. And in the spirit of this, I'd invite you to bring some sugar cookies into work to surprise your coworkers. This is going to be followed by Wednesday, which is National Pina Colada Day. Now, to me, this screams spontaneous happy hour. Invite your coworkers out, buy them a drink, have a good time, and celebrate that the week is half over. Finally, Thursday is National Cheer Up the Lonely Day. Now, I'm sure we've all had those moments in our lives where we've seen someone sitting by themselves, whether it's at lunch, or out and about, wherever. And we've just sort of kept walking by. We haven't stopped. This week I invite you to stop. Introduce yourself. Start up a conversation. You never know where that's going to lead. You could be like Landon and Ben and end up being great friends just from that one conversation. Or you might just brighten up their day. Again, you don't know these things until you stop and try. So this week I invite you to stop and try. That's all I have for you this week. Thanks again for watching. Please follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and also my YouTube channel if you want to see my prior videos and the videos I'll be posting in the future. That's all I have for you this week. Until next week, I'm Jared Hoyer, reminding you to pay it forward.